So warm greetings to you from Silver Bay. My name is Bruce Tamlyn, and I'm recently retired as the chaplain here at Silver Bay. I hope you are well, and thank you for being a part of what we're doing here at Silver Bay today. This is a year-long program that we're doing, 10 months actually, will end in December. But we're doing these videos as part of a series that we're calling Making the Most of This Precious Life. And all of the videos that we're doing sort of address this issue, and we have different topics that we're doing along the way. And I'm today in the beautiful library at Trinity House on the campus at Silver Bay. And with me is Austin Porth, Silver Bay's digital marketing media specialist, who is making this video and actually loads it up and makes it available to you all. So thank you, Austin, for what you do for us here at Silver Bay. And again, today is part of a series that'll be shown as part of the program called Inside Silver Bay. And what I'd like to share about this today with you is that all that we're doing is an attempt to improve our life, improve the quality of our life, and making the most, again, of this beautiful, precious life that we have. And before I get into today's topic specifically, I would like to just do a short kind of quiet meditation, quiet inner prayer moment together. So I'm going to move over to this chair here in the library, and I'd like to just walk you through a very short, but I think a meaningful chance just to center ourselves and feel grounded and feel a sense of wholeness about us. This is part of what we often think about as a daily spiritual practice. And maybe you have a daily spiritual practice in your own life. This is one that I enjoy doing, and it might be something you might want to incorporate in your life. So what I would invite you to do, again, is to find a comfortable chair and just to sit in the chair and to feel the support of the floor and the chair, and allowing your body just to relax into the chair. And what we'll do is we'll just do a brief body scan and see where we might be holding tension in our body. So I would invite you to close your eyes and to begin to just be aware of our body, and again the support of the chair, and allowing ourselves just to rest into the support of the chair where we're sitting. And just starting down at our feet and ankle area, just to be aware of any tension we might be holding there, and just to slowly let that tension go. And then moving up our body to our legs, our calf muscles, our knees, and our thighs. If we're holding any tension there, just letting that go. And then moving up into our torso, into our chest area and our arms. If we're holding tensions there, just to let that tension go. And then moving up into our shoulders and our neck area and our head. Again, seeing if we might be holding any stress or tension there, to let that go and to relax our whole body. And then what I would invite us to do is just a short breathing exercise where we become aware of our breath. And so as we breathe, we'll inhale, and then as we exhale, we'll just say a word in our mind's eye, a word that is comforting. A word might be love or care or compassion or faith or hope. And again, we just be aware of our in-breath, and then as we breathe out, just saying that word that we've chosen. And we focus on our breath and the sharing of our word as we breathe in and as we breathe out. And there may be other thoughts that come into your mind. Just acknowledge them and let them go, and then come back to your breath. So inhale and exhale, silently saying our chosen word. And let us just do this for a few minutes together. So I hope you're finding this to be a relaxing exercise and a gentle exercise, something that we don't have to try hard to do. It's just focusing our mind's eye on our breath. And we'll bring this to a close in a moment, but this might be something you would like to practice maybe the first time out 4 or 5 minutes, and eventually as you do this on a regular basis, you might choose to do it for 15 or 20 minutes. And the research is very clear about this, that those that are able to do this sort of centering prayer or meditation, they just overall health benefits, lowered blood pressure, and an overall sense of well-being that comes about from a spiritual practice like this. So thank you for engaging this with me, and I hope it's been helpful for you. So our topic for today is the importance of a positive mental attitude. And this is part of the series we're in right now. We're talking about this series, calling this series Doing Inner Work. Doing Inner Work. And there is some very good research on the importance of a positive mental attitude. And I hope in the next few minutes that I can bring out the opportunity that we have as people of life to have a positive mental approach to our life that way. And you probably know some people that are just positive people. They live positively, they have a positive way about them, and maybe you know some people that are not quite that way. And again, what I want to lift up this morning for us is that the opportunity to live with a positive mental attitude has so many benefits for our health and our life. And so I want to tell you a story. I think it's an interesting story that was brought about by Reverend Norman Vincent Peale. Maybe you know of him. He's passed away some years ago, but he was at Marble Collegiate Church down in New York City. And Norman Vincent Peale had a real following. He started an organization called Guideposts, and they published a weekly magazine and a devotional. And the the real contribution that Peel made to was he associated sort of our faith with having a sort of a positive mental attitude, or he called it, and the title of his book that he wrote was called The Power of Positive Thinking. And maybe you've heard of that book. That book was widely acclaimed, and it ultimately sold, and it's still selling, but ultimately sold 5 million copies and was translated into 40 different languages around the world. He published the book in 1952 and became quite well known for his work on this whole idea of how our faith can help us develop a positive mental attitude. So the premise of Peel's book was that the quality of our life would be better and improved if we approached our life with a positive mental attitude, a sort of a yes, a real affirmation of this idea that when I feel good about life and who I am or whatever, our life sort of goes better. So Peel was not the first to bring this idea to light that way, but he was certainly one of the more effective ones. The whole industry, sort of the self-help industry, was launched by his book and others. But even prior to Peel, there were others that sort of championed this idea of a positive mental attitude. It can go back as far to the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, who championed this idea of a positive mental approach to life. Also, the 19th century transcendentalist Ralph Waldo Emerson, he also advocated for the same sort of vision of highlighting the importance of a positive mental attitude in life. And so, of course, there have been many others and some good research along the way that I will refer to in a little bit. But in our time now, more modern, the more modern concept of the power of positive thinking is the word manifestation. And so young people today, youth today, embrace this idea of a positive mental attitude, but the word manifestation, how do we manifest in our life what we want to have happen? And the idea of manifesting is holding it in our hearts and our minds, and as we hold it and think about it, it may come about as we work towards it that way. We again, approaching this positive mental attitude through this concept of manifestation. And it is fascinating to know that today's youth are keen on this idea of manifestation, and that's evidenced by the fact that 36 billion, that's billion, TikTok views of the topic of manifestation have occurred and are happening every day. Now, again, manifestation, like the power of positive thinking, is the mental process of envisioning and positively affirming a desired outcome that we would like to have in our life, whether it's a new relationship or possibly a promotion or a trimmer waistline or inner peace. The idea is that this mental exercise of manifestation can lead to real-world achievement, and the research is clear on this and shows that manifestation really does help us formulate and achieve and reach our goals that way. So let me just for a moment talk about techniques for manifestation, because they vary. Some advocates suggest manifestation as a writing exercise, and you might have what is called a manifestation journal, where you write down your goals and record the steps that you're taking towards these goals. And the idea of writing it down makes it more real, and you're able to see it and understand it and begin to then follow this step-by-step process towards reaching your goals. Another form of manifestation is reciting a positive mantra. Maybe you remember growing up as a kid, the little engine that said, "I think I can, I think I can, I think I can," and the little engine would get over the mountain that way. And so this idea of reciting a positive sort of mantra for you that reinforces towards helping you reach your goals. Another technique of manifestation is called scripting. And this is where you write down how you'd like a scene or how you'd like something or situation to play out. So before it actually plays out, you write it down, hoping that that's what will happen that way and working towards that goal. So it's called scripting. And also taking the time to commit this scene that you want, this scene, to commit it to words and to manifesting in your mind that way, how that you hope it will come out, work towards this desired outcome. So an idea might be that you really want to learn how to play the guitar, and so you envision yourself playing the guitar and playing songs you enjoy as you're learning along the way. You're envisioning this idea, manifesting this idea of playing the guitar and singing and playing and enjoying doing that. As you visualize that, you work towards that goal. Now, how successful is the concept of the power of positive thinking, or this more modern term, manifestation? So this question leads us to the research that has been done on the intersection between mind and body, and the results are really quite fascinating. First, it's important to establish that you just can't imagine yourself to $1 million windfall and just hoping it's going to show up, or a slimmer waistline. It just imagining it doesn't bring it about. This is faulty thinking. But that being said, there is sound scientific evidence that shows that positive words and positive thinking can improve one's health and one's quality of life. The real benefit of positive mental attitude is improved motivation. When you hold a positive attitude and a positive mental approach, you tend to be more motivated to work towards that in that way. And so the idea, let's say you would like to get in better shape, that you really are motivated to do that on a daily basis and have the discipline to do that because you're holding it in your mind and your heart as that's what you'd like to achieve. Now, mental health professionals have long known the power of positive thinking. And there's a school of therapy known as cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a very popular school. And the key concept in cognitive behavioral therapy is that our thoughts actually become played out in our behaviors. And if we're thinking about it and holding it, our thoughts will lead us to behaviors that help us to reach our goals. And it is clear that a consistent pattern of positive thinking can help us to behave in ways that will lead us to success. And this is why cognitive behavioral therapy is widely used by therapists and psychologists and mental health practitioners today. Similarly, the father of positive psychology, his name is Martin Seligman, Seligman. He's out of the University of Pennsylvania. And he developed the concept of learned optimism. It's a great idea, learned optimism. And what Seligman meant by this term was that explaining events using positive terms. In other words, you would explain an event or something you'd like to bring about or a goal using very positive terms, meaning you're teaching yourself learned optimism that way. Now, this is sort of in contrast to maybe more of a lamenting of what befalls us, or the idea that we are sort of dwelling on the negative that way, or always thinking that it's not going to work out, or woe is me and it's going to not come about again that way. That's not as constructive, where Seligman helps us understand this, with this concept of learned optimism. We learn to be constructively positive about moving things forward. And the idea of learned optimism involves developing the ability to view the world from a positive point of understanding, and that good things are going to come about, and that as we hold that in our heart and mind, we tend to work towards them. Now, learned optimism is often contrasted with the concept of learned helplessness. And by challenging this sort of negative self-talk at times and replacing pessimistic thoughts with more positive ones, research shows that people can learn to become more optimistic over time. It's really fascinating to know that you really that you might think about yourself as being a pessimistic person. Seligman's research really shows that we can change that over time if we allow ourselves to hold sort of this positive optimism and learned optimism about life and about ourselves in that way. So according to Seligman, learned optimism is possible even if you are more naturally pessimistic, and developing certain skills, including learning how to reframe your thoughts. What do we mean by reframing? You might be holding it in a sort of a negative way, and you actually take it out and you reframe that, a frame of a picture, you reframe it around positive thinking and positive thoughts. And research has identified there are 5 benefits of learned optimism, and let me just go through them briefly. But this learned optimism gives us these 5 sort of benefits. The first one is learned optimism improves your physical health. The research is really clear on this. Optimism is a significant predictor of positive health outcomes. Optimists eat healthier. The research shows optimists eat healthier, exercise more regularly, and get better rest and sleep that way. So that's the first idea, that learned optimism improves our physical health. The second one, optimistic people have lower stress levels. This is because optimists face challenges with a positive mental attitude. So consequently, they're less stressed. Optimists are more resilient, and optimists may even thrive in stressful situations. Number 3, learned optimism helps us to live longer by being more resilient, and in the end, we have a greater sense of health and have more longevity in our life. That's fascinating research. Number 4, learned optimism improves your mental health that way. Again, the research is clear. Optimists over the long averages have a greater sense of a healthy approach to life that way. And number 5, learned optimism increases our motivation levels. And this is because we believe we can achieve our goals, then we stay with them. We don't give up on them. We have the discipline to hang in there. Now, learned optimism absolutely helps us to pursue our goals in more consistent and healthy ways. Similarly, optimists have a growth mindset, which allows them to see the challenges as opportunities to learn and grow and improve, not as impediments or not as negatives that way. And so this growth mindset that optimists have keep encouraging them to move forward and growing and learning. So a common question is this: can optimism be learned? You may think that you're either born naturally optimistic or naturally pessimistic, and that's partly true. Seligman says that genetic predisposition does play a role, and if your parents were optimistic and outgoing that way, it's more likely that you will be also. Also, our levels of optimism and pessimism are influenced by our childhood experiences. And this may include that families with emotional and financial stability tends to produce children that have more emotional stability, more emotionally healthy people. And in some cases, people from more challenging backgrounds can develop negative self-talk and a more pessimistic mindset. Now, there are many people that have proved that that's not the case and have overcome great obstacles to achieve great things. So it's important to know here that we're not in any way labeled, and we don't carry around sort of this stigma about ourselves that, well, we're just pessimistic people and so we're not going to achieve. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is that we can achieve, if we're willing to work at it, a positive mindset and an optimistic point of view of life. Now, according to Seligman, learned optimism is possible even if you're more naturally pessimistic. Again, developing certain skills help us to improve and to become more optimistic over time. Seligman's work and research actually launched a whole new branch of psychology, which today is called positive psychology. And his work was dedicated to helping people achieve an authentic happiness. And he talked about there are three components to authentic happiness. The first one is a positive emotional outlook. The second one is to be engaged. And the third one is to find meaning in our life. And I just want to say parenthetically about our work here at Silver Bay. I think our work at Silver Bay is dedicated to this idea of helping people come to an authentic happiness. And the idea of being engaged, the idea of being a part of a loving, caring community, the idea of coming to a beautiful part of the world where we see God's creation. I think many people come to Silver Bay to have this experience of a sense of authentic happiness. And I know Austin and I don't mean to speak for him, but so many of our staff members here are just dedicated to that for both ourselves and for all that come that way. And we often say here at Silver Bay, if we don't feel this authentic happiness as a staff group, how are we ever going to have those that come feel it that way? So let me just encourage you, if you'd like to know more and pursue more of the work of Martin Seligman, and I would suggest you might enjoy this. Let me offer you the thought of to read his book. His book is called Learned Optimism: How to Change Your Mind and Your Life. Again, let me say it: Learned Optimism: How to Change Your Mind and Your Life. The book was published in 1990 and is still widely available that way. And again, Seligman, Seligman, Seligman's research shows that optimism can have a positive impact on our mental and physical health. And this has been confirmed by other researchers also. According to the Mayo Clinic, positive thinking can lead to lower rates of depression and better coping skills during periods of stress. And let me cite two studies here. In 2009, there was an analysis done of more than 80 studies involving thousands of patients. And this study found that optimistic people had better outcomes in pain management, immune function, and cardiovascular health, and greater survival rates when dealing with serious illness. Now, that's a study that had thousands and thousands of subjects, and it showed that optimism brought about, again, a greater, stronger immune system, which is so important for us, cardiovascular health, and greater survival rates around serious illness. So the data is really clear. Moreover, data shows that the significance of this brain-body connection is so important. And the idea that our brain has what's called a neuroplasticity, meaning it has this ability to expand and move. This optimistic thinking creates neural pathways that improve our cognitive function. So as we age, we talk about cognitive function maybe struggling, but this idea that we support our brain and its neuroplasticity through optimistic thinking shows that we can actually help improve our cognitive function over time. And one more piece of research here. In her 2019 book called The Source, Neuroscientist Tara Swath writes, and I quote, manifestation, that practice we were talking about, manifestation practices impact mental health mostly through motivation, reward, and movement pathways of our brain, which are correlated with dopamine and the mood regions governed by serotonin. Now, dopamine and serotonin are sort of brain chemicals that are so important for us to be having a positive view of life that way. I know when I go running, the endorphins that are released through the exercise just sort of fill my being with a sense of sort of positivity that way. So whenever I'm feeling a little like tired or whatever, going for a good run just allows those neurotransmitters to be released. A similar phenomenon was documented in the brain scans of people who practice meditation. I found this to be really fascinating. Meditation, similar to some manifestation techniques, can involve repeated visualization or the recitation of a mantra to induce a peaceful state. That's what meditation is, the little exercise that we do at the beginning of each of these programs. But the research suggests that people who regularly meditate have improved cognitive function and less age-related brain degeneration compared to those that don't. That is so significant. The idea, again, as we age, we don't want brain degeneration. So the idea of meditation reverses that and supports a healthy brain that way. In closing, I'd like to just reference a few words from Scripture that I think support the body of research on the power of positive thinking and manifestation. In Ecclesiastes, we find the words, "I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to be doing good while they live." To be happy and doing good. In Galatians, we have the fruit of the Spirit: peace, kindness, goodness, joy, love. Beautiful expressions of an optimistic way of thinking. And there are 7 references in the good book that repeat the phrase, "Be of good cheer, be of good cheer." So as I close, I hope that you have found this to be helpful, and the idea that we can have this optimistic approach to our life, the power of positive thinking, and that you are of good cheer, and that we at Silver Bay hope for you good cheer and hope that you can visit us and be around the good cheer that we have here at Silver Bay. I look forward to seeing you at a future program, and again, thank you for being part of this today, and may you be well, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye now.